Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's 2023. Welcome back, hipsters. We would like to thank all listeners, supporters, community, subscribers that's out there that has been listening to the podcast and lending the ear and sharing information. We really appreciate it. Thank you for riding, tuning in, and listening to the channel. Uh, it's 2023, as you know, and HipsNews, like anything, we're not stopping at where we're only gonna get stronger and better, and this year is no exception. Have you ever contemplated, considered, or thought about our social dynamic, the inflation, the wars that's been progressing, the medical information or disinformation, society, moral judgments, and such? Who's really controlling this, or who's out there, or whom are out there controlling this? These are questions that we're going to ponder and somewhat get into this episode. I'm your host, Vessel One, and with me, and thank you for the return, my ride or die homie, Vessel Two. Vessel Two, how are you this year? And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, all well in the kingdom. Uh, I'm okay, man. This is going to be another interesting topic. I think we're putting together, throwing out there for people to pay attention to. It's all about the puppet master who controlling Pinocchio.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, let's jump into it.
To a new day. I communicate did it dash.
Hold up, wait a minute.
Hidden in plain sight.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. What's in your community, locally and globally? I'm Vessel One, and with me, Vessel Two.
Hey, quick question.
Is it hidden in plain sight?
Vessel one, vessel two.
Talks about hidden in plain sight.
And with that, let's get into it.
Hold it now, wait. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, do you know what time it is? What time is it?
It's been a long time. I was giving you time to get the last one straight.
Hidden in plain sight.
All right. The secret societies in the shadows.
Secrets denote power. I can use them to persuade you to do things you don't want to do, and there is no way for you to counter it.
What does it mean when you have President George H. Bush in 1991, in the wake of the fall of the Soviet Union, talk about a new world order?
There are people who believe that the Illuminati run the world. They count as their members Angela Merkel, Joe Biden.
The Skull and Bones have sworn an oath to keep the society's business a secret.
LeCirque, we have people who are heads of large foreign intelligence agencies.
And yet, they were not involved in secret rituals and funny hats or anything else. These were nasty guys.
The Freemasons have been able to exist for 270 years.
Maybe these rituals and thefts are all just a smokescreen for something much bigger.
It is an elite organization within one of the most elite educational establishments.
The Golden Dawn makes me wonder what in the world is going on here.
Some of their mandates may exceed what the general public is prepared to support.
Bad actors, having heard some of these secrets, could use it to manipulate people in power.
What were they all about?
The number of people involved is staggering.
It's inviting you to be curious.
There must be more to it.
The thing is, if you are covertly ruling the world, maybe it's not the worst thing to be underestimated.
There you go. Entry to the secret societies. Yeah. Vessel Two, what say you?
Yeah, it's a lot of unknown circles within circles. I'm interested in how many different types of groups that we can get into and discuss today, but it's obvious that someone or some organization is pulling the strings. Who might that be? I don't know. I can't tell you 100%, but it's been in our face at several points in time through history where names will come up. So it's interesting to see how much information we can cover today.
Yeah, agree. Let's push on to this next video, and then after that we can break some things down and discuss.
All right. What are secret societies? Decode it. Let's see what they're talking about.
For a long time, I've been hearing about secret societies. Some people claim they are harmful organizations, and others say they are useful to society. I think their story is important and could be affecting our lives.
There have always been secret societies to retain knowledge.
In the Arab world, was completely fascinated by the idea of secret societies, Western secret societies.
There are all sorts of secret societies. There are political ones, there are criminal ones, and indeed there are occult ones.
The facts are there. It's just that we each sometimes interpret them differently.
Crashed into one of the towers.
Secret societies are fiercely compartmentalized, but there's a level above that. That's where the real game is going on.
Washington, D.C. was indeed laid out according to Masonic symbolism.
Do secret societies exist? And are they trying to rule the world from the shadow?
I have always thought of myself as a free thinker. I am always hungry for knowledge. When I was at school, my favorite subjects were mathematics, physics, and literature. I love numbers and shapes. And at the same time, I enjoy a good story. And I love mystery. Mysteries generally propel my curiosity and need to know. My curiosity made me think of what is called secret societies, like the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and many other secret societies they say have existed since a long time ago. And there are alleged records of some of them, and claims that their members reached as far as to rule nations, and stories about strange rituals exercised in their meetings. What are these secret societies? Do they really exist? And what is their purpose? When I started the journey to search for answers, I got lost. Lost between many secret societies. Each one has its own rules and objectives. The Freemasons, the Illuminati, the Rosicrucians, Skull and Bones, and many others we hear of, and maybe others we don't. So I decided I should start by talking to someone who did a lot of research on this topic. I reached David Icke. Maybe he can show me the way.
Hi, David. You have investigated secret societies for a long time. Can you please tell me more about the origins of secret societies?
There have always been secret societies, well, as far back as we can ascertain, because there's always been groups of people that wanted to retain secrets, secrets to hoard knowledge. If I have a certain highly important level of knowledge and you don't, I am in a position of power over you.
So the objective of secret societies is actually to keep essential knowledge hidden from the public.
We live in a world that actually is made up of two worlds. One is the world that the population live in, and that is limited in terms of the knowledge that it has. This knowledge is kept from the population by not allowing it into the public arena. And this other world is made up of a global network of secret societies in which this knowledge is passed on through the generations of carefully chosen initiates at the core of the core, overwhelmingly coming from a network of interbreeding families.
So being a member of a secret society, for instance, like the Freemasons, you would have access to knowledge that nobody else has?
These secret societies are fiercely compartmentalized. You look at just the Freemasons as an example, the bottom 3 levels of degree, the so-called blue degrees, and there's 33 levels. And you only progress to the next level, which is what? The next level of knowledge, if that level decides you are worthy of it, or you're the kind of person that should have it. You have, say, the Freemasons, you have the Jesuit order, you have the Knights Templar, and they appear, of course, compartmentalized in their individual pyramids, but there's a level above them. And at that level, which it doesn't officially exist, that's where the real game is going on.
What is written about the Templars is that they were formed in the Middle Ages. They were warriors. They say they invented banking as we know it, and they amassed incredible fortunes, and they offered loans to kings and nations as a way to control them. Then it is said they became builders and pirates and grew more popular and powerful until they were outlawed by the King of France and their leaders were burnt at the stake. But many say they continued in secret and became more occult. It seems there are many secret societies who people believe are ruling the world or producing its leaders, like the fraternity called Ordo Novi Templi, or New Templars, that is said to be behind the rise of Hitler. The fraternity was founded by Jörg Lanz von Liebenfels, a racial theorist, and Guido von List, an occultist. Lynn Picknett is a writer and researcher whose work on secret societies is very useful. I think she could help answer a few questions.
Hi, Lynn. You did an extensive research on the Templars.
Yeah, we did the research, yes.
So what can you tell me about secret societies and their relation to power?
There are all sorts of secret societies. There are political ones, there are criminal ones, and indeed there are occult ones. I always say that the paranormal is things that happen, and the occult is things you choose to do. You know, so like join a society. And ritual magic, for example, which is all about focusing your will through rituals, and they hope to change the actual world through their will. Whether or not they manage it or not is another matter.
Do you think there is a link between secret societies and powerful political organizations, such as the Nazis?
The Nazis had their roots in a sort of semi-mystical belief system called Ariosophy, which actually came from the 19th century, but built up in importance after the First World War when Germany was beaten. And Germany felt it needed to build up its national pride. So they became very obsessed with Ariosophy, which was basically the idea that the Aryan race was a very ancient race that had ancient wisdom and had mystical roots and was going to rule the world.
Yes. Very interesting stuff. What say you, Vessel 2?
Her last comment about the Aryan race.
Right.
I've heard that the Aryan race itself was not Europeans. They were Indians from India.
Right.
So for her to use, well, not necessarily her, but for Hitler to claim to be Aryan, I always kind of thought that that was odd. And knowing that Hitler came to America to get some of his torture techniques and ideas also shed a little bit of light on how uh, he was using other people's ideologies to do what he wanted to do in his own country.
Right, right, exactly.
But what say you, Vessel One? How did you uh break down? How can you break down the video as far as the information being shared regarding secret
Well,
societies?
well, the secret society breakdown and origins. From what I really got into this, and it's a very interesting subject. But from the origins, the bases are from ancient Kemetic science, and what this science consists of is mysticism, metaphysical, and mental, which represent, the soul, the body, the mind, or the words they use was Sia, SIA. And from that, with the soul, you got the ether, and the body, the matter and energy. And with the mental is the subconscious and will. Basically, for layman's term, it's the spirit, the physical, and the mental. And from the way they broke it down into threes, again, mind, soul, and body, is all, as you know, a lot of secret society used the pyramid or the 33 or the third aspect, like a way of moving or um, excelling to a higher level. And it all breaks down with the spirit, again, the spiritual, physical, and the mental, which basically in that is broke down into the three of religion, medical, and science. And of course, medical is alchemy, and the symbol alchemy or medical is the caduceus, and that's the staff with the two snakes wrapped around it, which is the DNA symbol. And from science, it's some say science is a form of, because they really didn't understand it, or those who actually, or the secret societies, or those who actually study that, they have more understanding with it. But majority, or those who haven't seen it or didn't know anything about it, they consider that magic or black magic. And again, everything is broken down in the threes, which is the church, and then which society separated, which is the church, and then the doctors and colleges, and that's how they separated knowledge. Either school or it was religion. Again, it goes into threes: the cults, the unions, and the sects. Sects as in SECT. But from all that, the there was a time where they separated these understandings, or these teachings, where the church actually took the main form of or ruling of society, and that era was when religion ruled, or reigned supreme. The church had absolute power. That's why you find in history there are times where uh, studying medicine or studying the body was a no-no. It was considered that taboo, and there were an era where, doctors and such was didn't have that knowledge of the actual body, and it wasn't until later on with, Da Vinci and such, and he did the charts and whatnot. But yeah, the church led everything, and everything else started to go underground, and that's when you see the separation of these two worlds. Um, uh, do you have anything to add to this,
So if I'm
or
understanding
would
you
you like to?
correctly, you said
Mhm.
it was secret societies originally date back to ancient Kemetic times.
Yes,
So
yes,
we're speaking uh Egypt, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So then if we're speaking of Egypt, the methodologies used to create civilization within Egypt, um, the time that this was all developing there, these were the original people from Egypt, would you think?
This is all, or the origin is from, straight out of Egypt. Well, the Kemetic
So
breakdown.
this would be the time before all the Europeans invaded, the Europeans and
Oh,
uh,
way before.
the
The
Syrians
couple of
invaded, the
Yes,
Romans invaded,
yes,
correct?
yes, yeah. This
Okay.
is way before then.
And
Way
then
before then.
religion didn't come along until that time where there was invasions from the Europeans. Yes?
Right,
Okay.
right. Because they found out that again, like it was said in the videos, that certain knowledge wasn't for everyone, and
Mhm.
that people in high position, or the quote unquote blue bloods, or the chosen ones, they were they represent coming down from their lineage was from the kings and those who ruled, the pharaohs or so. And as you know, it's stated that the pharaohs had some connection with, quote unquote, the fallen angels, or the aliens that came to visit,
Akanaki.
the Akhenaten. Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Because so
So,
far in
hmm,
the videos, from what they're saying, they're starting the origins of secret societies at the hands of the Europeans.
of course, and yeah,
Okay.
and by them saying this,
Mhm.
it keeps certain people in the shadows, or understanding that not all knowledge is for everyone, due to the fact that if you have that knowledge, that you might find out that uh, there is more to the story than they are willing to share. It's all about power in that sense. It's a power struggle.
Right.
If they're able to keep that knowledge, and not knowing, or keeping you from not knowing whom or who you are, of course, they can stay in control. And that's what it's all about. And again, religion was a big um a result of that. And by keeping people docile, or in control, or having the control over these people, that believing that, of this one aspect, having faith or sticking to religion, that everything will be um, revealed by the time you pass or you transcend into the higher plane. So this is where everything's become very, very interesting because again, um, in Europe, they mostly focused on the religion aspect, and they kept the medical and the science pretty much hidden. That's why everything went underground. And those who were able to learn were the majority of them were higher uh, position socialites. So that's why they created their secret places where they can learn, such as college or these schools or these societies that they were able to study science and alchemy um, or the physical aspects of anatomy of the human body. Um, Again, in this episode, basically, ancient Kemetic science was a balance of art and culture. And if you were able to master all these aspects of things, then you could reach a God level of consciousness, or as they call, enlightenment. Thus, the story of quote unquote, they used Jesus, which later religion was formed, or to keep people in a certain balance. But the ancient Kemetic knowledge known, of a godly source, uh, it all represented at first from women, especially ancient Kemetic knowledge was the women had the power because they considered them the gods in that sense because they were the only ones able to create both species, male and female, and that they consider that the God aspect. One who can create, not only create, but having the power to create different uh, male and female, and it was and also, as you know, in religion or in the book, that's why they had that part in it where it says the fallen angels preferred daughters of man. And it's there, right? So Mary Magdalene, she had a lot of power, you know, uh, Jesus' mother, Mary, she also, Lady Mary, she was very powerful. She was considered in the beginning, they considered them the actually the ones that they should have been focusing on, but not to defer too far from the secret society. That's why mostly men kept that in that information hidden as well, you know. But in modern era, such as like the ABC, LGBT, letter groups, and of secret society, uh, disconnection of modern era is from the old science reaching the higher asexual male female hermaphrodites, aka ball, or yeah, aka ball. This is this was considered to have human, half goat, well, male female features, and the hermaphrodites, or the ball creatures, were respected and considered very powerful. Yeah, back in the day. So this is where that part falls into, you know, the Baphomet and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's telling now where if you think of
Exactly.
uh in today's terms, who secret societies are. You're only going to focus on the current modern day societies, which are all European societies.
Exactly.
And
You
they
know,
pretty much have their origins when it comes to knowledge and learning how to be or learning how to build civilizations. They had their start in Egypt,
yes, of course.
but they don't mention that now because if they was to mention that, then as you said, that will unveil a lot of the buffoonery that they present to you on the day to day when they're trying to pull your string.
Of course, yes, of course. They want to keep you like the elder uh, Robert X would say, they want to keep you in 1692. They want to keep you where you only know yourself as a slave or some indigenous uh, creature that was wild and didn't have any understanding of anything. And so, as long as you're in the dark of who you are and what knowledge or what power that you have had or that your ancestors provided, then of course you know you're easily manipulated. And this is what it's all about. You know, secret societies. You know, again, it's all about power and all about manipulation of keeping that power so they can control and they can make the judgments and the movements of society and play the way they want to play and continue to uh, inherit and gather knowledge and make money, you know, and be wealthy and, you know, have the say so of society. Yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like uh their form of secret society equals death and destruction.
Well, yeah, you know, of course, yeah.
And I
Yeah, well,
don't
I
know
mean,
how back in the beginning of the secret societies, uh, during the ancient Kemetic studying period, how much of that was altered for bad, for unjust reasons. I think it was just the, I could be wrong, but when it was first being formulated, it didn't necessarily have a bad, uh, it didn't have bad elements in it.
of course not. Yeah, you absolutely correct. I mean, in ancient Kemetic science, from what I have been researching, no, well, what I have been researching, it's no such thing as good or evil. It's a balance. You know, this like saying, um, if there's a population that live next to a fault or a volcano, and the volcano erupts and kill majority of the people, would you say that's bad? That's bad for those people who live there or who was there, and for their relatives to go through that trauma or such. But normally, what they call that is an act of God, which is, you know, it's a universal balance of keeping, um, say for instance, a balance of life to nature, or you know, a star explodes and you have comets that rain down. You know, those hundreds of thousands of years ago, they killed the dinosaur. Was that bad? It's perspective how you look at things. From what these ancient or these secret societies are taking the so-called act of God part, and they're using it to their own advantage, well, there's so many people that should be here. There's so many things that should be happening, so this is why, phantoms, say for instance, people going hungry, diseases come out every so many years. Not saying that they are creating it, but it it gives you some idea of uh, what is going on in society, to say the least.
Yeah, I totally understand. So this is top 10 real life secret societies. Let's see what they're talking about, which societies get luckily named.
Not much is known about these groups, yet they all might be controlling the world from behind the scenes. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 real-life secret societies. For this list, we're only considering secret or secretive societies that are known to exist.
Why are you asking these things?
The Priory of Sion is a myth, one of the world's oldest and most secret societies, with leaders like Sir Isaac Newton, Da Vinci himself. The fleur-de-lis is their crest.
Number 10. Unification or Death, also known as the Black Hand. The rebel influence is real. The Unification or Death group, more popularly known as the Black Hand, was founded in 1901 by Serbian military rebels. A military conspiracy group, the Black Hand's main goal was the unification of all European Slavic people under one country, and they were ready to strike dead anyone who stood in their way. Having already seen to the murders of Serbia's royal couple in 1903, the group is also credited with assisting in the start of World War I, as they're rumored to be behind the assassination of Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Number 9. The Hashashin.
These demons were trained by the old man in the mountain. They were Hashashin.
Initially founded during the late 11th century, the Hashashin was an offshoot of Islam known as Nizari Ismailis, with members primarily in Persia and Syria. The Fide class of Hashashin was famous for their work as covert murderers, and the group saw to the deaths of many viziers, rulers, and crusade leaders, with civilian casualties kept to a minimum thanks to expert planning and preparation. The group's name is thought to come from a translation of the term users of hashish, though there's little proof that they used hashish regularly. In fact, most of the information regarding the group was lost when their library was torched, which piques our interest as to what secrets were lost in that fire. Number 8. Ordo Templi Orientis. It's time to move away from assassinations and travel to the spiritual side of things. Created as a mystical organization in the early 20th century, Ordo Templi Orientis, or Order of the Temple of the East, was intended to be a secret society similar to Freemasonry in Europe. Unfortunately, the most notable member was Aleister Crowley, the famous occultist. Crowley became a leader of the organization and used it to popularize a religion based upon philosophical law, Thelema. Crowley incidentally considered himself the prophet of Thelema. Conflict of interest, anyone? Many religious groups adapted its principles, but critics say OTO resembles a cult, with some even labeling it a satanic sex cult. Number 7. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Let's see what Great Britain has to offer in the world of mysticism. Created by Freemasons William Robert Woodman, William Wynne Westcott, and Samuel Liddell MacGregor Mathers, the Golden Dawn is widely credited as the major influence for Western occultism in the 20th century. Essentially a magical order, the Golden Dawn focused on personal and spiritual development, encouraging members to expand their minds through ritual and divination. Fun fact, though its setup was based on that of Masonic lodges, women were included on an equal playing field as men, unlike many Masonic groups. Hey, women want to be secretive too, right? Number 6. The Knights Templar. Sorry, Assassin's Creed, your Knights Templar have nothing to do with the real deal. Initially an order of knights helping travelers on holy journeys, the Knights Templar grew in prominence and fame as their numbers increased. Eventually, they became known as the protectors of Christianity, as well as the world's first bankers. Many theories have risen about the group's ulterior motives, including speculation that they possessed the blood of Jesus Christ. But those have yet to be proved. Though the group was practically wiped out in a mass arrest on Friday the 13th of October 1307 and was officially disbanded in 1312, a modern Knights Templar society does exist today, though they don't associate themselves with the original sect. Number 5. The Order of the Solar Temple. Nothing goes hand in hand with secret societies like murder and deception. The youngest group on our list, the Order of the Solar Temple, was created in 1984 by Joseph de Membro and Luc Joret in Switzerland. The order draws its beliefs from certain sects of the ever-popular Knights Templar. However, perhaps the most prominent idea in the Solar Temple was that the Earth would be subjected to a huge disaster in the mid-1990s.
53 cult members died in Quebec and Switzerland last week. Some may have committed suicide, but police think many were murdered.
Unfortunately, this resulted in mass murder-suicides of members in Canada and Switzerland, beginning in 1994. Reportedly so the members could ascend to a higher spiritual plane prior to the catastrophic event. Number 4. The Bilderberg Group.
Bilderberg and Tralala are not really think tanks. They simply individuals who get together who are from business, the political world, the media, others, and discuss ideas.
Sometimes you can be secretive right out in the open. The Bilderberg Group is an annual summit attended by world leaders from various countries, as well as experts in fields of economy and marketing. With an original goal of promoting increased U.S.-European relations, it's understood that the Bilderberg Group now meets once a year to discuss free market standards across multiple countries. Though it's not a secret society in the traditional sense, conspiracy theories surrounding the annual meetings abound due to the lack of press, with one theory stating that the members are lizard aliens in disguise.
There is a predator race which take a reptilian form. They're feeding off humanity. They've turned humanity into a slave race. They demand human sacrifice. That's where Satanism comes in. They feed off human energy, particularly feed off the energy of children.
Whatever's discussed in these meetings must be secret for a reason, though many are critical of the lack of transparency. Number 3. Skull and Bones.
Chris, welcome to the Skull and Bones Society. This is where the most powerful men in the world are groomed for their futures.
Molding the minds of undergrads since 1832, the Skull and Bones is the most prestigious society for senior undergraduates at Yale University. In order to be selected as a bonesman, you have to show the attributes of being a campus leader. While this not-so-secret society's membership has been revealed, their practices are still a mystery. Many politicians have been members of the society, including John Kerry and both George Bush Sr. and George W. Bush. Conspiracy theories claim that the Skull and Bones is designed to breed the political elite or to serve as an incubator for the CIA. But who knows, maybe it's nothing more than a frat house.
You know, someone I loved once told me that if it's secret and elite, it can't be good.
Number 2. The Illuminati.
Illuminati.
The people of the light.
By far the internet's favorite secret society, the society we most often refer to as the Illuminati, called the Bavarian Illuminati, originated during the Enlightenment period in 1776 and focused on free-thinking ideals.
Their name means the enlightened ones. They were physicists and mathematicians, astronomers. They were concerned with the church's inaccurate teaching, and they were dedicated to scientific truth.
Unfortunately, the Illuminati was outlawed by Charles Theodore of Bavaria. By 1790, the group was seen as radical and disbanded a few years later. Theorists think the group continued to exist underground, manipulating the world's events and infiltrating governments and corporations worldwide. Proponents claim their lengthy membership list includes President Barack Obama, Kanye West, and Angelina Jolie. A fantasy, of course. They couldn't control everything right underneath our noses, could they? Before we reveal the existence of our top pick, here are some honorable mentions.
The descendants of the Neo-Rosicrucian stream continue vigorously to this day.
We don't need a birthright. We don't need a family crest. And we certainly don't need the king's damn permission.
Many call Opus Dei a brainwashing cult. Others an ultra-conservative Christian secret society.
Obviously, some people fear what they don't understand.
The KGC was well known for its power and influence during the Civil War, and was equally well known for its gruesome rituals.
Number 1. Freemasons.
Over the next century, they smuggled it out of Europe. They formed a new brotherhood called the Freemasons in honor of the builders of the Great Temple.
Believed by some to be plotting to conquer the planet with a new world order.
So much organized crime uses the Masonic secret system and the good old boy network to be able to get away with murder. And I mean murder.
Using symbols to communicate their ideals, the Masons were officially founded in 1717 London as a descendant of stonemasons. However, rumors suggest the Freemasons were operating in the shadows many years prior, making them one of the longest-lasting secret societies known to the public. Even so, their secret handshakes, rituals, and order of ranking are part of popular culture. In reality, their beliefs are based upon shared philosophical ideals of charity, kindness, and a general acceptance of one supreme being, meaning any members from any religion are welcome in the lodge. Do you agree with our list? What real-life secret society fascinates you the most?
There you have it.
Yeah, it's interesting list they had. Very interesting.
Any additional secret societies that you would like to put out there?
I think they ran down the most common ones.
Right. They missed the Club of Rome. They missed the Rockefellers, the Bohemian Grove, and Travis Scott Institute. Those are the other ones that's had a hard impact on society as well.
And the Committee of 300.
The Committee of 300, yes, of course. We can't forget them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but as she stated, and Mr. Jones also stated that they have committed a lot of mayhem over the years, and it doesn't seem like anybody is able to stop them from doing what they're doing.
Right. Well, that's what happens when you connect it. You know, it's sad.
Yeah.
But remember, as I was mentioning, when you rise to a certain level, they considered these actions that they're taking somewhat not only liberal but necessary, a need to balance or to keep in order of society. Remember, they feel that they're chosen to do so. Yeah, there was a famous book, if I'm not mistaken, if it was Russian or it escaped me. But what this book was, the thesis of this book was to say that there are certain people that believe that they are chosen or they have the right to commit murders or crimes without any repercussions. Maybe within the next episode, might find the the book or the title of the book or the author, and then I can present it. But on the mysticism of occults and underground rituals, fraternities, brotherhoods, and brethren, he's mentioned Aleister Crowley, and along with him, John Whiteside, aka Jack Parsons, and L. Ron Hubbard. And as you know, these guys had direct connections to Hollywood or that side of town.
Yeah.
So just to throw that out there.
And it's all about who you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Great, great. This is very, like I said, it's a very interesting topic and subject.